Today is a very special day in Georgia. It's Orthodox Epiphany, January 19th. We've come down to the southern part of the country. This is the Javakheti plateau. For reasons you might be able to see out our car window, this area is sometimes called the Georgian Arctic. It's extremely harsh. There's a bit of a blizzard happening outside at the moment, which we hope will die down. All the roads are frozen. It is extremely beautiful from what we've seen. I've been here many times in summer, in autumn. I've hiked up a mountain on the edge of the lake. I've never been here in winter though, and wow, it's incredible. Today there's going to be a very special ritual on Paravani Lake, which only happens one day a year today, Orthodox Epiphany. We're going to head outside into the cold, observe this ritual, and also give you some tips if this is something that you're interested in experiencing here in Georgia. We'll give you some information about how you can attend. Epiphany or Theophany is the commemoration of the baptism of Christ in the River Jordan. In Georgia, Epiphany is called Natlisgheba, and it marks the official end of the Christmas and New Year period. This whole day revolves around water, and all water is considered to become sacred. Another ritual associated with Epiphany is swimming or plunging into a body of water such as a lake or a river. The tradition of submersing yourself in cold water is said to bring good health and to absolve you of your sins from the previous year. Epiphany rituals take place all over Georgia, but none are more interesting or more extreme than the one on Paravani Lake. Paravani is located in the Javakheti protected areas in the south of the country, very close to the borders of Armenia and Turkey. Paravani is the largest lake in Georgia by surface area and sits at an elevation of just over 2,000 meters above sea level. This area has special significance because of its relationship to St. Nino. St. Nino is the woman who preached Christianity in Georgia and is credited with prompting the king and queen to adopt Christianity as the state religion. Javakheti is the place where St. Nino first entered the Georgian territory, then it was known as the Kingdom of Iberia. Stories say that Nino rested on the edge of the lake for 2 nights, and it's here that she encountered a vision, instructing her to visit the king of Iberia in his capital, Mtskheta. In Mtskheta, Nino baptized King Miriam and Queen Nana. For Natlisgheba on Paravani, you'll notice that the hole cut in the ice for the ice bathing is in the shape of St. Nino's cross. This cross is different because the arms are turned downward. This is because the cross was fashioned from grapevines. St. Nino made it on her journey to Mtskheta, and she tied the grapevines together with her hair. The cross is cut from the ice the previous day on January 18th, and this is done very close to St. Nino's monastery on the lake shore. When we arrived at the lake at about 10 a.m, there were some men out on the ice cleaning a thin layer of ice that had formed over the cross overnight. It was almost a complete whiteout. We couldn't really see any of the landscape, any of those beautiful volcanic mountains that make Javakheti so special. But somehow this lack of perspective, lack of context made the cross look even more spectacular. There was lots of fresh snow on the ground, and we couldn't really tell where the shore ended and where the lake began. It was honestly so cold out on the lake, we quickly rushed back to our car. Someone ushered us inside one of the buildings, and we were quite surprised to find a lot of people were inside. They were setting out these long tables with plates and cups, getting ready for the feast. There were only about a dozen of us at this point, but it was clear that they were expecting a big crowd. At 10:45, we headed into the little church and liturgy began. By the end of the service, 2 hours later, the church was full of people. I don't know if it was the crazy weather outside contrasted with the warmth of the church or that stark white landscape juxtaposed with the glowing candles, but it was a really beautiful, really moving liturgy. As part of the ceremony, the priest blessed a barrel of lake water, and then he used that to bless everyone in the church. We left the church at about 1 p.m. and made our way down to the lake for the second time. At this point, a 5-meter or so long ladder was lowered down into the cross, and the first person approached the ladder to participate in the ice bathing. We saw between maybe 20 and 30 people plunge into the water over the course of about an hour, and everyone did it a little bit differently. The first couple of participants were very ceremonious. They ducked their heads down into the water 3 times, crossing themselves each time they came up for a breath. The first couple of men also pivoted in the water and swam a lap down and back up the long part of the cross, which was quite interesting to see. We were surprised to see some people entering the water fully clothed, including a couple of young ladies in jeans and a couple of older ladies in their winter coats and their winter boots. There were also people dipping their heads or their hands into the water, and there was even one man who collected a big jug of water to take home with him. Thankfully, the wind had definitely died down somewhat compared to when we arrived earlier that morning, and we even had a tiny bit of sunshine, but still it was freezing cold. The top that day was -6 degrees Celsius plus wind chill, and the freezing, pounding wind and snow just made it almost unbearable. I have so much respect for those who jumped in the water. It must have been absolutely freezing coming out into that wind. We made our way back inside to warm up, and at that point the priest came and pulled out 2 chairs for us at one of the tables, and we sat down with Saba and his family and had some food. We had some fried fish from the lake, bread stuffed with mashed potato, which is a bit of a delicacy in this part of Georgia, and of course lots of wine. This was absolutely one of my most memorable experiences in Georgia, not just because of the spectacle of the ice bathing, but also because of the warmth of the people, the beautiful liturgy, and just the way people welcomed us to participate. There were only a very small number of foreigners here, maybe less than 10, so we felt really lucky to be able to experience this. If you want to participate in Epiphany on Paravani Lake, here are a couple of practical tips. This event takes place on the same day every year, January 19th. The liturgy starts from 10 a.m, but the ice bathing starts at 1 o'clock and lasts until about 3 p.m. If you just want to come for the outdoor part, you can. The location that you want is St. Nino's Monastery, not St. Nino's Convent. It's a little further along the lake shore towards Tbilisi, and there is a sign on the road to let you know where to turn off. There's a little access road that you take and a car park right in front of the monastery. The cross is cut from the lake just a couple of footsteps away from the monastery. To get to Paravani, you're looking at a 3-hour drive from Tbilisi or about 5 to 6 hours from Kutaisi. It's a really good idea to bring your own car. If you do drive, you definitely need winter tires. We heard from a couple of people that the road from Tbilisi was actually closed and that police were stopping people in Salka because of the bad weather and the icy roads. So it might be safer if you approach from the west like we did. It's hard to explain just how crazy this weather was. I've never experienced anything like it. The roads were completely iced over in the morning when we drove to the lake. They had been cleared from the next village onward by the time we left. But if there's going to be snow overnight, then be prepared for a challenging but very beautiful drive. I highly recommend you spend the previous night somewhere nearby. We stayed in the town of Nino, which is about 40 minutes from the lake. Hotel Sonia is a place we've stayed at before. I always look forward to coming here. A beautiful, modern, clean, fantastic guest house run by a very lovely family. I really wish every small town in Georgia had a hotel like this. If you don't have a car, there's not much in the way of public transport in winter, but you might be able to join a small group tour. I'll leave the details in my blog post, which I've linked to in the description.